Welcome back guys to another Zero DCE video, and today Coach Ernie is going to be talking about the importance of taking small wins, so make sure you stay tuned. If you're interested in becoming a pro trader, check out the link in the description to join the world's #1 Zero DTE trade destination. Enjoy guys.
Super important to take those small wins. And sometimes those small wins can go for a long time before you get something big. And then they usually come in streaks. Then you'll see a nice long one again. And then what you're trying to defeat is accumulating nothing but loss plus the win. Because if you have a small win like here, the difference between taking that win, let's say your risk was 100 and you made 200, that's $300 versus it's a plus 300 versus minus 100 loss, right? That's a $400 swing. You might think, it's just $100. No, it's a $400 swing. You could have secured that 300, but you got lazy or you wanted to go for more.
So what is the threshold where you take the small win? What risk reward?
There's no risk to reward. You already defined the risk to reward. The risk to reward is whatever it started out to be. That's what it was, right? The key though,
Isn't that maximum risk to reward?
that's how you calculate risk to reward.
Okay. But when you take a trade early, then you're getting less than that.
Yeah, but that's not how you calculate risk to reward. That just
Okay,
means
but then what do you call that?
you call that your net or what your gross profit. That has nothing to do with risk to reward. Risk to reward is the probability of something happening and potential. And you're setting that up for a very specific reason because it doesn't mean that you're always going to get it. You do not figure risk to reward based on your average return. That and risk to reward are two completely different things. If you were to set all your trades to go for your average return, your returns would be way less.
No, I'm just asking.
No, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So
When we set up our risk to reward, it's maximum risk to. That's the best you could possibly do if you pinned it, right?
but that's how you calculate risk to rewards. That
Okay.
way with every trading system.
But then isn't there an actual risk to reward?
No, that is your actual risk to reward. You're mixing terminology.
I know I'm mixing. I'm just saying, like from a performance standpoint.
No, that would be your average return. Whatever you
Okay,
are averaging.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's all that is. Your average return has nothing to do with your potential. Just because you have an average return that's X doesn't mean you couldn't make 3 or 4 or 10X. But that is your potential to make more. Might not be realistic, but that's how you have to figure out your average risk to reward. Your average net, that's a completely different stat and has nothing to do with what you're shooting for.
Right.
If you were only shooting for something
setting
less,
up the trade and the other is actual performance.
because within that range of what you can get, some people are going to get, say, an average return of, I don't know, say a 1 to 3, 1 part risk, 3-part return when they put on a 1 to 10. Other people are going to get 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 for the same risk to reward.
Yeah.
Some are going to get 1 to 1. The risk to reward doesn't change. What changes is your performance. And the risk always.
So when you cut it off early, like what's the decision process there?
You're doing profit management there. You're trying to come up with what is the prudent thing to do. And the decision process is pretty simple. Would I take this trade today if I were right here? In other words, would I enter this trade right here? So let's say you're up $200. Right? And it costs you $100. That means, would you take the trade at $300 risk? See what I'm saying? And the answer is probably going to be no, I wouldn't. My range of taking that trade is maybe between 100 and 125 or 100 and 150. Now, that's when you're multiple days out. When you're on the same day, we follow our profit management. Whatever the high point is in our profit, depending on where we are in the day, we set a trail on that. Early in the day, that trail is as high as, say, 50%. And then as the day moves on, that diminishes maybe down to 20%. And at some point, you have to decide, is it too risky to hold this position anymore and just take the profit? When you're multiple days out, that's harder to do because it's you have periods in between your trading where you have no control. So that's why you have to make that kind of determination the previous days. Would I take this trade now or not? Is it still a good trade to put on? So for instance, if you were only $50 a profit, then you might say, I'm just going to stay with it because that's within what I would normally have traded, or I would normally take that trade for $150, but I wouldn't take it for $300 or $400. Is that clear?
Yeah, I think you're right at the nuance of what makes this strategy successful or not, because what you discussed at the beginning of this conversation is that difference between that loss isn't the $300 loss when you have $100 of gain, right? That's $400 difference. That's how you get killed. That's how your account gets killed.
Yes, that's why you have to take those small wins.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button below. If you're interested in becoming a pro trader, remember to check out the link in the description for Ernie's school community.